What's up guys, it's Branden and Kalie. Today we're going to be taking you on a first drive of the all-electric Volvo XC40 Recharge. And now you're joining both Kalie and I for the first drive here of the Volvo XC40 Recharge. If you haven't already, be sure to check out our full interior and exterior walkthrough. Check that out, subscribe please. And let's go for a drive. We're in kind of foggy Pasadena, California, and we're just gonna kind of drive around the city here. And I do have the regen turned on because it's actually optional in this car. Pedal calibration is a little bit weird. It starts out kind of almost like dead to an extent, but then it kind of picks up a little bit. And this car is actually almost 400 horsepower, so it's certainly not a slow car by any means. It shares the same powertrain as the Polestar 2. It actually has a 150 kilowatt motor both on the front and the rear. It's fairly uncommon for EVs to have the same amount of power on both the front and the rear motor. They're essentially the same. But so far, pretty comfortable. A little bit of motor whine from the rear on regen, but nothing bad by any means. Kalie, what are your first impressions here as we're just scooting around the city?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I'm not driving, but it's very comfortable. And he's like, I will make it so you have an impression. But yeah, it's up and again. It was comfortable until he did that. But yeah, it feels good. There's no like massive wind noise, not that we're at high speeds yet or anything, so, but first impressions, it's good. This is a car that I would buy if money wasn't an object. Yeah, and I was home. Like, I don't even drive my car currently much, so.
If you had a normal commute or something, I think this would be a really good choice, yeah. But you don't have a commute, and.
Well, and I know this is like controversial depending on who you are, but I like that this is essentially the same as like the combustion XC40.
Kalie likes trolling people at charging stations.
Yeah. It's my favorite thing, like when you pull up, and like that's the big thing with the Mini, because most people don't know that there's an electric version of it. So like I love when I like pull up to places and people are like, wait, why are you here? Like even people that own electric vehicles.
Especially Tesla owners are the worst. A lot of them don't realize that they're other electric cars, or especially other electric cars that look like the gas version. But we just came to a stop here, regen all the way down to a stop, and now it's holding, so that's exactly how I want EV regen and like brake calibration to work.
Yeah.
Didn't slow down from too high a speed, so it's hard to get a gauge on
how aggressive it is.
Well, how smooth it is, but it's actually fairly aggressive regen, which I like.
Yeah.
I believe there are adjustable levels. Let's see, Kyle did say that it's like 4 menus deep.
So we'll see if we can find it.
Oh, it's just a one pedal drive, so there's not, there's essentially off regen and on regen.
And go. I didn't mean like that, railroad.
Well, when you say go,
you're gonna go.
I take that as a serious opportunity.
And in this moment, she realized her mistakes.
But overall, seats are really comfortable.
Oh yeah.
I wish they had the massaging function like the ID4.
Well, it's so like, I mean, they have lumbar, so like it's essentially the same thing. It's just like coating essentially, right?
I mean, you'd probably need a slightly higher rating, like lumbar inflator.
Yeah.
But that should be very doable. I think with the ID4 having it, basically every car that has power seats should have it in my opinion, but yeah. Probably a lot of people don't actually use it, so the value there, or well, the value might not be there.
With our ID4, like you'll always be like, is your massaging seat on? And unless you like tell me, it's rare that I actually remember to even turn it on.
And you like it.
Yeah, I like it. And like, if we're on a long road trip, that's a different situation. Yeah. Like I'll remember because like I have plenty of time to remember, but like you're always using yours and I always forget about it.
I basically have just made it a habit to turn it on the second I get in the car.
Yeah.
So there's that. Infotainment's nice and snappy. We'll get on the 710 here and we'll go to the 210 and then back. I think that'll just be our plan here. I don't think this car is a super hot commodity at the event today.
only we would be like, I want that one first.
Well, because there's the Mach-E GT and stuff, which again we'll check those out too.
Yeah.
I'm actually pretty excited about those.
There are definitely some much spicier cars, but like this is the practical one in my mind.
Well, this is kind of a stealth spicy car because it's not slow.
Yeah.
But it's not the car you'd expect or like the car you would lust for, essentially.
Yeah.
I think this is right.
I think it's the next one, but it's fine. I think you can get on there regardless.
Okay, yeah. I'm not familiar with this area, if you can't tell.
Branden struggles with directions when he's familiar with an area, so in an area he's not familiar with.
Yeah. Turn on climate somehow. Oh, auto. There we go. That's the button I was looking for.
I didn't even notice it was off. Different priorities.
Go back to the hotel as our nav because I think it will show here once we get that pulled up. And this car actually has pretty good route planning and everything for charging stops and estimated arrival. And let's get on it as we get onto the interstate here.
It goes.
This is not slow. That's a number. It's a lot faster than you would expect for this. The nav is struggling because we got on the interstate directly contradicting what way it wanted us to go.
Yeah, I think you just need to follow 210 east, so
yeah.
Here.
So, it's actually a little bit noisier than I would expect.
Yeah.
And, I mean, we're going about 60, so that's a little disappointing, but not the end of the world. For, I think, 99% of driving, you wouldn't notice.
Yeah.
You should reach your destination by 10.
Oh, I was like, what is that? I like these blind spot indicators. They're like dashes.
Yeah, let me see if I can trigger the driver's side one here going alongside this Corolla.
Yeah, they're like nice
lane,
and subtle. I'm sure
ends.
You'll pass a car somewhere, but
yeah, it's very subtle on the edge of the mirror, which is exactly
but like
where you
still
want
in
it
a
to
place
be.
that like you'll definitely see it.
And
whereas like I find with like our ID4, like when it's on, I don't even notice it, but like I've also seen people complain on Facebook that they notice it too much, so to each their own.
I'm not entirely sure how to do lane keep on this. I think it feels like it's on.
One way to find out.
But someone should pass us here in a moment. Yep, there's a Civic coming up alongside us. And there's the blind spot monitor right there. Hopefully you can see it. It's fairly subtle, but still nice. I'll go one more exit up just to kind of get a feel for this. You can adjust your speed with this button here. It does it in 5-mile-an-hour increments.
So is it lane keeping?
Yeah, it feels like it's lane keeping.
Okay.
Like the steering wheel firmed up a little bit. It kind of feels autopilot-esque how it firms up a little bit when it's on lane keeping. Yeah, and I just felt it turn itself a bit.
Oh yeah.
This is actually really impressive, like driver assistance.
Yeah.
This is autopilot level, which is kind of the standard of sorts at this point.
Yeah.
And we'll get off here at Hill Avenue. I'm gonna break the adaptive cruise and lane keeping. And I'm just gonna slow down with regen. We do have a power indicator here, so above is on the throttle, below is regen. No color change, which is actually kind of surprising.
Yeah.
And that was full regen, no touching the brakes at all, and I actually had to just go back onto the accelerator a little bit to not come to a complete stop as I'm rolling forward. Overall, I'm impressed. I would say it's not the best value with vehicles like the ID4 on the market, which is part of the reason we own one.
Yeah.
But it's certainly nicer in a lot of regards. It has way more power.
Yeah.
Even more power than the all-wheel drive that I've driven. And pedal calibration is really nice. The one pedal all the way to a stop. I would say if the value proposition was a little bit better, I would probably have one instead of the ID4.
Yeah, I think I mean, it depends on what's important to you, but I think like this feels like a bit higher quality, but it's just too expensive. Like if it was like 5 to 7 grand more, I'd probably take this over the ID4, but it's like, what, 20 grand more?
It's like 10 to 15-ish, which is still a fairly significant amount of money.
Yeah.
But if you're coming
and we don't keep cars long enough for us to invest that much.
Yeah, and I would say especially if you're coming out of a gas Volvo and you're very familiar with Volvo service, and just, I mean, Volvo is kind of known for their experience, and Volvo dealers are probably among the better dealers out there, which is good. I mean, if Polestar is trusting Volvo dealers to deliver Polestars, essentially circumventing the dealer model in some regards, because Polestar Studios are kind of an attachment to a Volvo store, but a separate business unit of sorts. It's complicated, but essentially Volvo stores are delivering Polestars even though they're not selling Polestars, if that makes any sense. But very nice car. I certainly enjoyed my time just driving this, and I think if the opportunity arose to get one of these for an extended period or at a decent price, we would probably take that opportunity.
Yeah.
The opening roof is kind of cool too, even though I'm not a huge fan of sunroofs, so I'd probably just leave it closed, but I do appreciate the shade.
Yeah.
And now we've swapped drivers, and Kalie is now in the driver's seat, so she's going to share some of her impressions from the driver's seat rather than from the passenger seat, and I'll share some of my passenger seat impressions rather than driver's seat impressions.
Yeah.
Funny how that works.
Are we heading back to, is this to the hotel or to the garage?
That's to the hotel, so let me swap this to, I don't know if that GoPro is going to be a good spot for your...
Oh, wow.
Whatever.
Let's
actually see if this lists charging stations. That's a great opportunity here, because it's a big charging station that's been around for a while, so hopefully it is. It doesn't look promising because it's not a networked station, unfortunately. So let's go Marengo. Charging.
Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and start like making my way out of here.
Okay. We'll just go to the hotel and then figure it out from there.
Yeah. I might have you bring it back to the...
You can handle it.
Oh my god, it's bright out. Oh, oh, it's rerouting. I'm like, what is that ding ding?
That's the rerouting ding ding. What do you think of the pedal calibration, dear?
I mean, I haven't really driven it, but it feels fine.
No, but at the low speed, how does it feel? Like,
oh, fine. Like, I'm just doing one pedal, so.
Okay. Does it feel normal and like natural? I guess.
Yeah.
Compared to your Cooper SE, it's similar, I would say.
Oh shit, where am I supposed? Oh.
You drive forward of those, you just don't backward.
Do I go right out of here or left?
You're going left out of here.
Okay.
I must say it's a missed opportunity to not have the nav, like, oh, never mind. We just had it on the wrong view. Never mind.
It does show.
Yeah, it'll show you your whole map on the instrument cluster there, so that's actually really nice.
Yeah, I like that. I like it when I can just glance down instead of having to like turn my head and look.
And I personally like having north up as like a constant with turn by turn on a separate screen and whenever possible in a car.
Yeah, this feels kind of similar to my Mini.
As far as
nice
like
and
pedal.
aggressive, which is what I like. I know like that's a matter of opinion, but
I like that you can turn the one pedal off, which I think is good for people new to an EV, just to get comfortable with the car and then get comfortable with it being an EV.
Well, especially I think like if people are coming out from like the XC40 into like the XC40 Recharge, like that's a good feature to have because I'm sure that's probably the main market for this.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if this will necessarily convert other EV owners to come to Volvo, but I think it will convert a lot of Volvo customers to EVs.
I mean, I love it, but like I feel like I'm just not normal in that sense.
I think an XC60 recharge would probably be more successful because
Yeah.
this is a little bit on the small side for like a family of 4.
Yeah.
The back seat's fine, but if you have a larger family, you're gonna want a little bit more back seat space, a little bit more cargo space.
Picked up nicely. I like plenty of power. At least for me.
Yeah, I mean,
It's no plaid, but
no one needs that.
no.
I don't know the exact 0 to 60, but I would guess this is probably in the like 4.5 to 5.5 range, which is more than most people need, especially in a small SUV like this. You don't need throw you back in the seat acceleration, which this has. Do you like it?
I like it. You can tell when I like it because I have big smiles. I would so have one of these if they were the same price as the ID4.
Yeah.
And this is why we chose this as the first vehicle to drive. Solely for me.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, this doesn't really do anything for me. Like, it's a fine vehicle, but it's nothing.
Well, and it made the most sense because everyone else went to any other vehicle. But
So we were like, oh, that's something we haven't spent much time with, or really any time with.
yeah, I mean, we saw the one at the Electric Week, whatever.
Yeah, the Drive Electric
yeah.
Week. So if you haven't checked that video out, definitely do. We drove the ID4 down to Columbia, South Carolina.
Yeah, but we've only seen them. We haven't driven them, right?
Yeah, we played around in the interior a little bit, but
yeah,
it was a static display. We couldn't
we tried to
drive
go drive one at a Volvo dealer once, but they had
Yeah, there was a stop sale at
Yeah.
one point. I think it was for a software update.
yeah.
But obviously that's past now. Yeah, I think that was in Florida?
Somewhere pretty and hot. So probably.
Yeah, that was Winter Park, Florida.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've tried to drive an XC40 recharge,
Yeah,
but failed.
yeah.
And I've driven a Polestar 2, which is very closely related to that. I was actually the first person to have a public test drive like from Polestar in the country, so I made a video about that. If another shameless plug.
Just all the plugs. Check them all out, guys.
If you haven't already subscribed, please.
Yeah. Subscribe, hit that notification bell, that like button, all the good stuff.
Yeah. But we're just about getting back to the parking garage here. Do you have any final thoughts from your little short impression here?
Yeah, I mean, I really like it. I would totally have one.
Anything particular you like about it?
The
that sets it
comfort,
apart?
mainly. I think.
Okay. Yeah, it does.
I don't know.
The
I mean,
ride's
the wind noise on the highway was kind of like
a little annoying.
a little annoying, but I drive a Mini, so I'm very used to that.
The ride is a little on the firm side, but it's not rough. It's just firm.
Yeah.
So
I like the true like one pedal driving.
yeah.
I didn't get to try the like driver assist, but you did, and it seemed like, from what I could tell from the passenger seat, it seemed good.
Basically, as long as it works, it either works or it doesn't for a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Assuming the markings are decent. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. Like and subscribe. See you on the next one.
Bye.